Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel, Davo, where we talk about Italian real estate. Today we have a very special guest. She's a very special person, and maybe you know her already. If you don't know her, you're going to, because we're going to interview her about her experience in Italy. Her name is Chris Sobolev, and I'd like to introduce her right now. Say hi, Chris.
Hello, how you guys?
Great, awesome. All right, Chris, I'm really excited to talk to you because you have an interesting story and I'd like everyone to know it. We've talked a little bit already before this video recording, and I've gotten to know you a little bit, but I'm sure that's just touching the surface of the glacier. So I'd like to ask you some questions, but first, why don't you share something interesting that you'd just like everyone on this video to know about?
You know, a lot of people ask me why did we choose Italy? What did we choose about it? What made us think that way? And, you know, other than just a wild hair, right? And I one of the things that I shared in one of my previous videos is that there was a point in my life where a lot of the people that I knew, the couples, had their children were already grown and they were leaving, and these people were getting divorced. And I asked them, I go, well, why? You know, you guys are great. And they go, well, you know, we have nothing else in common. We've grown apart. And I kept digging, like, what's the real reason these guys are getting divorced? And it came down to goals. You know, you get married, you have children. Your goal is to keep them alive, get them educated, turn them into good people, or help them be good people, which they already are born good, and to get them out there and help them survive. And when you've done that, there's this massive goal that you've finished and you don't have any more goals, right? So I went, okay, I'm not going to have that happen with me and Pete. We need a goal in common. We need something that's going to pull us through our life, you know, that's going to be exciting, make us want to get out of bed in the morning, you know. And so I said, okay, well, I was kind of always liked the Mediterranean. I've always loved Italy. And I started looking over there, and we found our house. And when we bought it, you know, we knew it was going to be great and exciting, but we didn't know what a new world would open up to us when we bought this house. We became part of an amazing community. You know, it's like we're part of the community. We're not just homeowners that go there every few months, every year. We are actually living, breathing part of this community, and it's the most amazing thing ever. I just love it.
When did you go at first to Italy? What year was that?
2010, we went over there. I dragged my husband. I said, we're going to go get a house. He's like, no, we're going to look. I'm like, yeah, we're going to get a house.
That's awesome. So did you find something right away? Did you search for a while?
Well, we went over for 10 days. Before that, I got to say, because this is not something that we just decided to do, I researched for a year before actually choosing that area in Italy, and before choosing, you know, the Riviera di Cedri, which is where we are. It was a lot of research. I researched everything, and a lot of that is in my course, you know, that I put in the courses. Everything I looked at. What about earthquakes? What about this? What about that? Oh, we went over all that stuff. How does it work? And where's the best place? And then we saw a House Hunters International with my friend Michelle. And Michelle was there, and she bought a house in Santa Domenica, and we just went, oh my God, that's exactly what we're looking for. We want this village. It was so beautiful, and the scenery and the food and the people and the sea. It was just lovely. And I said, oh, we got to go look there. And we looked in the whole area. I mean, we did a whole tour of the hill towns and everything else. And we just actually fell in love with the second house that she saw on the video. And we bought it because we were just like, we couldn't stop thinking of this village, of this house, of this new life that we were ready to create. You know, it was a really beautiful thing.
That's amazing. I guess a follow-up question to that is, out of all of the communities that you visited since moving there, is Santa Domenica Talao still your favorite, or would you recommend searching around a little bit before purchasing?
Well, I mean, as you probably know, every single community there has a different vibe and a different feel. You know, we went and we looked in Brissolia, which is way up high and just beautiful, beautiful, and very warm and happy, fun. We went to Maiera, which I felt was a little quiet for me. You know, it was very sort of reserved. Orso Marso, the same thing. Scalea was very busy in summer, really exciting and festive and whatnot. And then, but Santa Domenica Talao, and we went in. First of all, the piazza is covered in flowered tiles, right? It's the only piazza I've ever seen that actually has a work of art right there in the piazza. And
That's cool.
yeah, and then, the views of the sea and just the feel of the place. It's full of artists. Everyone in that town is an artist of some sort, like whether it's cooking or knitting or making lace or woodworking, or Antonello is the architect. He's a magnificent architect. There's just art everywhere, and you feel it when you walk in. You feel like you're living in a painting, kind of, but the painting is multidimensional with feelings and emotions and community and just everything you can possibly think of. I love that place, obviously.
It sounds really nice. Let me ask you a question. I wasn't expecting to ask this, but you made me think of every summer I visit a place called Lecce, Italy. Have you been to Lecce by chance?
No, but I was looking there. I'll tell you something. That looks beautiful.
Yeah, frankly, it's an amazing place. Like I take it for granted because we go there every year. Perhaps my in-laws, they live just a little bit outside the center, but it's very common for people to like walk down, and there are like vendors that sell arts and crafts and stuff all the way down this big long road in the center historical portion of town. So you just made me think about all that, and anyway, just curious if you've been there or not.
No, I was looking heavily at that because they say it's the Florence of the South, and of course I love Florence for the same reason. It's just full of art. So we have to go there, and we have to spend some time there, and really get to know Lecce. I do want to, because I did have my eye on that. It probably, if I didn't end up in Calabria, I would have ended up there.
Well, it's definitely a different type. Like it's a little bit more desert climate compared to Calabria, perhaps. I've never actually been to Calabria. I really want to go at this point, especially to meet you. I don't know if you know it, but I'm coming to visit. I said that on my last video. When people are searching for real estate, you're a real estate professional in California, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, and so are you set up to help people purchase in Italy, or are you just giving advice at this point?
At this point, I'm giving advice. I have, like what we were talking about earlier is my goal, and Pete's goal, is to really boom Calabria. When we got there, we were like, where is everybody? How come this place isn't just booming, And it breaks my heart because, the kids there move and they go to Milan to work, and I'm like, there could be so much work here. Like these kids could stay here in this place and be home and work. And we said, and we sort of made it, that's our goal. We're going to boom this place. And we have hashtag Calabria's booming. And that really is just sort of an idea now, but it's going to go viral pretty soon.
You're starting something. Don't worry about it. I can already see it. I've been watching your channel, and I'm amazed. I'm amazed by your growth recently. And, I don't know if this is fueled by what's going on in the US right now. It's a little bit crazy, and we're not here to talk about that, but maybe people are just looking to explore this dream that they've never reached before because other factors are pushing them that way. And recently, in the last few weeks, there has been a pretty giant climb of people searching to at least not necessarily be here full time, but at least to come here more often. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, and I think I get a lot of emails, and what a lot of these people tell me is that, that I think that this, virus thing really made people see that there are no guarantees in life, and you may as well, and it's, this is something I harp on. I hate the term bucket list, list, not bucket list, okay? Because you never know when you're going to die. I'll tell you
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Do a little video on this one. It's a little story. I was at an estate sale and I found a really nice bottle of champagne, and I bought it for $1. And I looked at it, when I got it home, and I said, somebody saved this champagne. They bought it and they saved it, right? For some occasion that never occurred. And now I bought it for $1. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go to Italy, buy your house. There's no guarantees in life, and you make your own future. Just do it.
Awesome. That's actually really good advice. I personally, my motto in life, and I haven't followed it always, but my motto in life, especially these days, is that if you're not happy, change. And I think one of the best examples is where you live. If you're not happy in the house you're in right now, you're the one that chose it in the first place, and you have the power to change that. Now, I understand the markets and ups and downs and the feeling of loss. I understand all this stuff. I've been through it personally. But there are ways to put your property up for rent. There's ways to do Airbnb. There's ways to just, if we have enough ambition, we can reach anything. That's honestly what I feel. So.
Yeah, and I can tell that about you because look at your life. I mean, who else do you know? I mean, there are people that go out and do the things that you're doing, like going to a whole nother country and working from there. That's a pretty amazing thing. I'm sure you probably take it for granted, but
Yeah,
not not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people have the courage to just uproot and go and create a new life somewhere. So it's something that we should be more comfortable with. A lot of people said, well, what if you lose money on your house? Well, what if I lose money on my house? Big deal. Big deal.
That's a good point.
What if I never have experiences like the ones I've got?
Thank you for saying that, first of all. It's weird because I'm an introvert, and at the same time, I don't believe in being stuck in your roots. That's the wrong way to say it, because I like the idea of going back to your roots when you come to Italy, for example. But the idea of I've been in a location and I'm going to be here till I die. Now, that's great if you're really happy doing it. But if it's like, you're going to miss out on a lot of culture that way, in my opinion. And so I think people should explore a little bit, at least vacation, if you're going to do that kind of thing, right?
Absolutely. It's really, what is life? At the end of your life, it's connection and experience. That's it. There's really not much more to life that I feel is really important besides connection with other people and experience, like magnificent experiences and wonderful people.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way of putting it. So you mentioning there are not so many people that have done what I've done or what you're doing. Actually, I wanted to ask you if you're the only American, or if it's like Italians and you in the community that you're in right now.
It's initially when we got there were, people there, other sort of not expats, but holiday home people. There's a lot of us who have places over there. And my dear friend Bonnie just moved over last year from Mississippi, and she's just lovely. The interview with an expat on my channel is Bonnie answering a bunch of questions that I asked her about moving and stuff like that. She's just a love. I just love her to death. Get there because we always have so much fun together.
We're gonna have to tag her in this video.
Yeah, definitely tag her. She will love it. She'll love it. But what I love, is last summer I was there, and Antonello, the architect, and the mayor said, "Oh, will you come to our event?" They had an event with all the mayors and all the city leaders and in the area, and they said, "We want you there because we're starting our B&B. Like, you're starting a business here. It's a big deal." I didn't know that they were going to hand me the microphone and say, "Chris would like to say a few words in Italian."
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And I did, and it worked out great. But our mayor then stood up, and he was so proud. I could see him. He was so proud, and he said, "We are so proud as a community, Santa Domenica, that we have people from America. We have people from England, from Ireland, from Sweden, from Russia. We have people, a whole different international community that chose Santa Domenica for their place, And as somebody who's come in, I mean, look at me. I'm not Italian at all, right? I'm too blonde and.
Yeah, you're like me in the end. We both came over here for no good reason. No, there's great reasons.
Then you just wanted to be there, And a little part of me is like, gosh, I hope they love us as much as we love them. I hope so. And he got up and basically just said yes. And that was so beautiful. I was so happy about that.
That's cool. That's actually a really nice story. Thanks everybody for checking out this video. Like this video if you haven't done so already. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you need information on Chris, go ahead and check out her channel, or you can ask me questions as well. Go ahead and comment in the video what you want to know about Calabria, because frankly, Chris has become a mini expert in that area. So she has a lot of knowledge to share with you. Well, let's talk a little bit about the real estate in Calabria. Now, you and we both, I noticed on our channels, talked about €1 homes, and recently talked about the €1 homes that came out in Calabria. I know at this point you're not actually in Italy. The lockdown, everything kind of kept you away. And when are you coming over?
I'm probably going to be there in September. Everything should open up, I think, in July. I have to run over and do some training somewhere for about a month, and then I'll be able to run over there. I've got a lot of people coming over. I mean, we've just been deluged with emails, and everybody wants to come. So I'm like, okay, this is good. This is going to be really fun.
but do you have enough space in your house for everyone to sleep? Just kidding.
A lot of apartments in the village that they rent out and stuff. I've got hookups.
Well, that's a good question, actually. So, first of all, let's finish this thing with the €1 homes. Are you intending to go visit?
Which one? Cinque Fronde?
Yeah, Cinque Fronde.
Yeah, I would like to go see it. It's a cute little village. I'm always intrigued as to what it is, and I want to see what these places look like. It's a lot bigger than I thought. I was looking sort of on the map and on their stuff. It's a pretty big place.
A few years back, 6,000-7,000 people. It's pretty good size.
Wow, bigger than Santa Domenica, which is like 1,200 people.
Really? Wow. Okay, so anyway, I do intend to go there. I have to do like this big trip. It feels like I have to go to like the embassy in Naples, and then I wanted to go to Bisaccia. Thought I'd do that already. Anyway, so maybe we'll see each other there.
Yeah, that would be really fun. I think we should hook up and do some stuff together, some videos together, and it'd be really, really fun.
Actually, I have that in my mind as well. Are there Airbnbs in Santa Domenica right now?
Yeah, I mean, they're not, I don't know that they're listed on Airbnb. There's a few, but my friend Maria, who's there, she's the gal that really sort of watches over all the houses. And she showed me her little purse, and it's full of keys, right? So there's a bunch of apartments that she rents out for the owners who are there, and several are very, very nice. So there are places to stay in Santa Domenica. We will have Airbnb up and running. I'm trying to push them a little bit to make sure that we get at least a few open, because I'd like our grand opening to be next summer. That may be highly optimistic on my part. Really like that, so it'd be really fun. But yeah, there's places to stay.
Is Maria a property manager? Does she actually have a property management business? The reason I'm asking this is because people often want to do Airbnb and they don't really know how to keep the property taken care of. They ask me for resources on who to contact. Would you know who to contact in the case, is Maria the right person to contact in the case someone wants to pick up an Airbnb or pick up a vacation home in Calabria, in that region of Calabria?
Yeah, I mean, Maria's great with that. What I like to do, we work with Ivan De Luca, and because he's been our agent, and we have the Airbnb in Praia Mare, which is gorgeous, and he's there and he rents it out, and then he's make sure it gets clean and that sort of thing. That's his business. He does that. Maria watches over people's places, but she does handle some rentals and things like that. I would suggest Ivan for property management, because he's got the whole system set up, and he speaks English. Maria's doesn't speak English, and Ivan is just really familiar with it. He's been in he's a real estate agent, but he handles all our.
Would he also handle hiring housekeepers, people to clean up after every person that comes through?
Yeah, he's done that. He's also, if we needed work done, like on the Praia Park, we needed new shutters. He's lined all that stuff out. He is a one-stop shop, Ivan is.
Wow. I understand those types of people. Some people do you know the word, I think it's tuttofare?
Tuttofare, okay.
Yeah, people call me that. It's basically for people out there, I think it means jack of all trades, right? Someone who knows a little bit about everything, but maybe he's a better expert than me, for example. No, it sounds like I'd like Yvonne.
Yeah, I think you would. In fact, when you come, I'm going to introduce you to everybody. I think you should know Antonello, you should know Yvonne, you should know Salvatore the builder, and and just be be introduced to everybody in Santa Domenica and Scalea.
I would love that. What is that first, in your opinion, what is the biggest hurdle to overcome when someone is doing that first search? I mean, people are experiencing it. I guess I'm looking for the solution. If you've got that, what is the biggest hurdle in that solution?
Okay, let's see. I get a lot of emails. I would have to say the biggest hurdle is just overcoming your own self.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that they're just like, oh, and they just kind of can't really make themselves do it, and that's a shame. That's one thing. To be honest, I didn't find that many hurdles really that we couldn't easily overcome. I think part of it is just really doing your homework, really understanding what you want. Well, I'll tell you, there's one thing. You can just get so caught up in all these gorgeous property, as you know, all these beautiful properties, and go, it's like when I was trying to find a wedding dress, there were so many beautiful ones that I was upset because I couldn't choose, and okay, well, where do I want to be, and that sort of thing. So that's probably one of the big hurdles, is just trying to stay focused and not get dispersed on all the possibilities.
I understand you. I don't know. I'm a little different than most, I guess, because I like to buy something cheap and live. Like, my favorite thing about Italy is that this is like the first time in my life where I didn't have a mortgage payment or a rental payment, because I happened to find a property on the auction that I paid cash for. Now and I'm not talking about a big sum of cash. I'm not rich at all. It was like enough to do a deposit on a normal mortgage. So anybody who's got that potential to pay with a mortgage could buy, even not on the auction. There are older properties that need renovation. Over time, you could literally get into a property and just use that little nest egg and then wait to save up a little more, remodel it. That could be a good game plan. Do you mind sharing your budget for the house that you purchased?
Yeah, actually, we bought our house at the top of the market. There was quite a boom down there in Calabria in 2010. And
interesting.
And I think it was, things were going well in England and these other places, and there was a lot going on. The prices have dropped almost half since then. So we purchased our place. I think 73,000 euros was the asking price if you go on the House Hunters International. And then we paid a little bit more for the ruin next door, because the ruin next door is right next to ours. They said, well, you can, remodel it at some point, which we're doing now. It's going to be done when we get there.
Wait,
so
is that your Airbnb?
No, that's just our house. Right?
Cool.
So we with the ruin, and we said at some point we will remodel, and 10 years later we decided to remodel it. We're just opening it up, and you saw the 400-year-old house renovation on our channel, and that's our house.
I gotcha.
So when we go back, it's going to be done, and we're going to do it after video, which is going to be spectacular. They really pulled out the stops in this house. I mean, there are some features in there that are absolutely stunning.
What was the budget for the remodel of the ruin?
Initially it was around 20,000, and then last time I was there, Antonello and Salvatore met with me, and they said, we think you should have a roof terrace. Your roof really needs. And I was like, we do, because we saw It's like, I know, like the roof is like these black sticks, that they put up in God knows when, and they were starting to fail. So we said, yeah, we think we should have a roof terrace too. Let's do that. So beautiful. I think, so what, maybe 40,000 for the renovations, or maybe I don't know exactly. It was sort of around the 17,000 mark for the ruin, and then there was the roof terrace, which I don't remember exactly how much that was. But you can't even get a kitchen for that here in California.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking that. I mean, those remodel prices, they seem a little ridiculous for some people, right? So people who have spent 150,000 just on the remodels, or 80,000 on the kitchen or something like that, right? Depends on, it's all a matter of perspective, and that's what life is all about.
Yeah, exactly. And it depends on your reason for it. You know, if you're looking for it as an investment, you got to be a lot more careful than we were being. We were looking for it as, you know, this is where we're going to be most of the rest of our life. So we really want someplace that is aesthetic and beautiful. And like I said, you know, I mean, houses here, an apartment or condo, 2-bedroom condo in San Jose is $500,000. You know, you could buy the whole town for that in Italy. You know, not the whole.
It's an exaggeration, but we understand. Do you think you'd prefer to be here full time, or are you enjoying the part-time travel between the U.S. and Italy?
Well, to be honest with you, I have kids, grown kids here in San Jose. And I can't bring myself to leave them forever. You know what I mean? And they're starting their work lives, which means they may not be able to get over there. And I don't want to see them once a year for a week. You know, I just can't do that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so if they came with us, we'd be there. We'd be there.
All right. Good answer. I'm asking this because a lot of people ask me, like, for how to get residency, right? And there are challenges when it comes to that, how to get permanent residency. There are ways, investing money, going to school, there are ways. But for people who are considering retirement, or people considering that future move, right? I think it's okay to do the part-time thing for a period, at least for a period, like you're doing, for example.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, we went over and spent maybe a couple weeks or whatever, because we were both working, a couple weeks every year, which was torture, because you're there and you're like, oh, the saddest day is the day you close up the house to go home. So, but we did absorb a lot of the culture. We absorbed a lot of the fun. We were still considered part of the community. It's just been lovely. You know, I can't stress enough how lucky and blessed we are to have found this place and then become part of it, even a little bit every year that we've been doing.
Well, Chris, I have some questions. Recently, I've had comments on my channel which have made me start thinking a lot, and some personal experience with that makes me think I should inform myself a little bit better. Now, North Italy and South Italy, they're almost like two different countries, and to be honest, especially like Sicily is in an island in and of itself. Down in Calabria, being so close to Sicily, I assume there's a little bit of like similar traditions, similar cultural habits, I guess. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about problems that you might have with contractors? Now, I don't mean to say all contractors are bad, but there are certain categories of the industry that can be controlled by illegal rings of crime, right? So some people would say mafia. What do you see? I mean, I don't want you to go searching for it, but what, in your opinion, are there people that control territories in your area and kind of block work if they don't get what they want?
I have not seen that, although I will tell you that, before we started our interview, I told you the story about, being in Rome and seeing the raid in Scalea going on. And we're like, what's going on? You know, we live right close to there. And basically it was a sweeped out anybody with mafia connections. And since then, the place has just blossomed. I mean, work is getting done, and the community is getting prettier and it's nicer. And I really think, this is just me thinking, that the Italian government went, we really need to open up the South. We need revenue from the tourists and whatnot. We need to promote that area. And I think that was part of it. And, we never really had any sort of worries or run into anything like that in the past. But now, I don't even hear about it. One thing that I do recommend is really getting to know the people in your area. use the local guys. If we're in Santa Domenica, we're going to use Salvatore and Antonello. If we're in Praia Mare, we're going to use the local contractor down there, but really just get to know everybody. I mean, you'll get the lay of the land, but I haven't run into anything like that, I haven't found that at all.
The challenge people are going to face is their ability to speak Italian. And some people fear that the inability to speak Italian with people who might not speak English, specifically maybe manual laborers that haven't studied English in university or something like that. Has that been a problem for you in communicating with contractors as you've done your remodel?
It hasn't been a problem for me. I made a real point of learning Italian as well as I could. Obviously, we always can learn more, but I can get around now. And, we have these Google Translate apps and things.
Yeah.
And it's entertaining to watch each other talk into the thing and then point the phone at get around pretty well. And of course, charades works really well. I haven't found that a problem. Worst case, I can always run and get Yvonne. He can come up and translate for me if I have trouble understanding. But Antonello speaks very slowly, and he always looks to make sure I understand. And he's the guy that pretty much coordinates, the works in Santa Domenica. I usually talk to him. Occasionally, I talk to Salvatore a little bit on various different things. But they always really are very concerned that I fully understand and that I'm in agreement with what they're talking about. So I haven't had a problem with that.
Well, I really like what I'm hearing, because to me it sounds like you're painting a picture that these people down in Calabria, these people, your friends, your colleagues, the people who are born and bred down there, even, they are just regular people that are regular professionals, even like professionals that are trying to survive and like improve their own lives. And it looks like they're going through extra effort to make sure that they are considered a professional.
Absolutely. And one of the things, Antonello, we were going back and forth about some of these properties. I think you saw that big palazzo that they're giving away.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah, God, I lusted over that thing. Anyway, basically he said, just make sure they understand this, make sure they understand that. We want to make sure everything's clear. And he said something that I just love, something like, clarity and understanding before anybody goes into it, and we'll always be fine, or something like that. We'll never have a problem if we make sure of that. And that's how I live my life. It's like, I don't, I never want to do something that's going to be bad for somebody else. I want to make sure it's the best thing for them, and that they know it's the best thing for them. And, so just to hear that from him was like, oh, that's wonderful. And that's really, all the guys that I deal with, Yvonne is that way, super transparent. Antonello, I have a friend named Giacomo, and his kids, let me give a little plug, shout out to Praja Vecchia, which is their renovation project, and they turned it into a B&B. It's beautiful in Praia Mare. They're that way.
Is there a video of that?
No, but there will be. I'm going to try to do a split screen thing with them and talk about their renovation and what they did. And
when you get it up, remind me, and I'll put it back in the description of this video.
Okay, I absolutely will. That'll be really great. Super awesome kids, and they said, we should make our work here. We shouldn't go to Milan. We shouldn't go to Rome. We can make our work here. And I'm like, hallelujah!
Yes, it's working. No, they figured it out on their own. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's so amazing, because it seems like when Pete and I went over there, everybody just sort of got on the same wavelength, that we all just kind of went forward, and things are really going great over there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, thank you for sharing all of this. As you've mentioned it, you did that video about that big palazzo, right? This giant property that all they had to do was put an apartment in for the owner. And did that get sold? I didn't catch that part.
There has been a lot of interest on that. It hasn't been sold because nobody can leave the U.S. and get into Italy, but they're all waiting, So
it's like the first one there wins.
Yeah, Basically. But let me just say another thing. There is a bunch of other properties available. I mean, Antonello got all excited. He's like, oh, he found 50 properties that he can do renovation projects for, and that sort of thing. This property was on the market initially for 120,000 euros, and then they lowered it to 70,000. And I was trying to find a buyer. This was before YouTube happily helped us out on this stuff. Couldn't find a buyer. And then they said, look, they're just giving it away because what's happening is the roof is failing. And as you know, with your knowledge, that when the roof fails, the rain gets into the walls and the integrity of the walls goes down, the whole thing comes down. Mm-hmm. It is one of our historic buildings in Santa Domenica. It is a treasure of Santa Domenica. Mm-hmm. And, one of the palazzos owned by one of the old families in Santa Domenica, that we really want somebody to come in and love it. Now, let me tell you about this. First of all, somebody asked me, can you pay cash for it? You can offer anything. I'm sure they would take a cash offer. I mean, I can't say for 100%, but I think you should offer that, and then you can also subdivide it. You get 4 friends and get in. Each of you can have a massive apartment with a communal roof terrace for not very long. I mean, not very much money. So there's a million ways that you can basically cut this project into bite-sized chunks.
To be clear, it's being given away, but you have to put the apartment in there for them. So that could cost, well, it depends on the renovation. Is there an expectation on how large, like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath?
They said they would take either 2 smaller apartments or 1 larger apartment. So I think, probably 2-bedroom, 2-bath in the building.
Is that large or small?
I think it's the larger apartment if you're going for 1 or 2 smaller apartments. I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of talking about where this would be. I mean, I would never encroach on a project like this unless I knew exactly what was expected and everyone was in agreement and it was all in writing and, looked at by the notario and everything else. So I'm sure there's a lot of back and forth that's going to have to happen on that. But again, they were offering it for 70,000 euros. If you want to just avoid renovating it for somebody else, offer them, some cash and see what they'll take. I think that they did this one to kind of, because they're like, we got to get this thing sold or it's going to come down. There's a lot of attention on that building in the village. It's very special.
That's great. Well, I hope that they figure it out fast. I hope someone can get into the country so that they can swoop in and find themselves a good deal, as well as help improve deserving community, from what it sounds like. Yeah,
absolutely. That's the goal.
That's great. I think your initiative, I always talk about the 1 Year Home initiative. It sounds like Chris has her own initiative. So it sounds like your initiative is flourishing, and I really hope the best for you all.
Well, thank you. It's a lovely project, and I'm so happy we found you because you're just right on the same wavelength that we are, and it's always nice to have members of a team together working on it.
Cool. Well, I'd like to say this right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel Super Savvy Travelers yet, I'll put a link in the description and you'll find it in the corner as well. It should be really easy to find her. She's all over YouTube right now. All you have to search is Italy. So anyway, I'm sure most of you already have found her. She's doing amazing right now. But by chance, make sure you subscribe because she has a lot to offer and she has a lot more interesting videos coming up. She's told me a little bit about them and I'm excited.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you have anything you'd like to say, or what is the best way to contact you? What would you like everyone to know before we close off here?
Well, if you want to contact me, you can contact me at info@supersavvytravelers.com.
Let's talk about your online course for a second.
Okay. So basically, I told you about the years worth of research I put in, and then I got so many questions on email about this and every aspect, and I said, you know what, I'm going to create a course, like a video course, because people like to watch videos, and we did. I went through everything I could possibly think of, every question, and then I had put a video up asking for questions. I'm doing a course, what do you want? And they sent me their questions. So we came up, it's very, very thorough course. It goes over everything you need to buy a property in Italy or move to Italy. We touch on renovations, moving your pets, just anything I could think of that anybody would know. So it's a fun course. It's easy. It comes with an ebook that you can tab and highlight and everything else. And then it also has links to some of our guys, the legal professionals and the other professionals that we use. So I think it's a pretty valuable one. If you're thinking of moving, you should do that first, because it's less than the price of half an hour with your attorney, and you will waste a lot more time asking him those questions. So I think I recommend it, obviously.
So how do they get access to that?
On our website, it's on the first page. They can go there and click on the promo there. I know I have it in almost every YouTube video details.
Yeah, I guess I have seen a few of those links down there.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. I personally would love to dive in there. I've already know how to buy one, or else I'd have already bought it. So thank you.
I know you could add to it quite a lot. Actually, I'll send you access. You can.
Oh, well, thank you. You don't have to do that, but you can give me a sneak peek, perhaps.
Okay, I'll do that.
Anyway, I think it's great that you made one. So that's awesome. That's it for this interview for today. Thank you so much, Chris, and you're doing amazing things. Keep it up, all right?
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
See you next time.
Okay, bye.